Allow me to take you on a journey to Middle-earth, to Mordor, with this brand new and insane LEGO set, The Lord of the Rings Barad-dur. It's massive, it's detailed, it's bonkers in the best way possible. Is it a perfect set, however, and is it worth that hefty price tag? Let's find out in today's video, which was not sponsored by LEGO. All opinions are my own. Let's get straight into it because I am too excited. The box is huge. I love the orange-reddish glow behind the tower, it's nice and fiery. And I mean, it just looks super imposing. At the top we see the minifigure selection that's included, and the back, per usual, shows off some features and details the set has to offer. Opening it up, we're given a whopping 40 numbered paper bags, a sticker sheet with a bunch of large stickers, and 3 fat instruction booklets. I can already tell this is gonna be a blast, so let's get building. First off, some objective information about LEGO Lord of the Rings Barad-dur. This set released June 1st this year as part of the LEGO Icons line. It retails for $460 and euros, 400 British pounds and 700 Australian dollars. In value, this brings us to about 8 cents per piece, which actually is on the low end. The thing weighs well over 4.5 kilos, meaning even here, with just 9 cents per gram of LEGO, you're paying a bit less than usual. The set comes with 10 minifigures, most of which are new and exclusive to this set so far. Here's the spare parts I personally ended up with, and combined the instruction booklets have 615 pages. Then finally, if you bought this set on June 1st, you'd receive the Beast gift with purchase set, which also we'll be looking at later today. Now, Barad-dur, also known as the Dark Tower, is of course featured in the Lord of the Rings movies. It's arguably the most iconic structure in the entire franchise, and for good reason. Alongside Mount Doom, it's the centerpiece of Mordor. It is absolutely massive and most recognizable for the Eye of Sauron sitting at the very top. It is very strange, to be fair, but very cool at the same time. This definitely was the right thing to base the next Middle-earth set on. Now, first, let us take a look at the included minifigures. I'll begin with Frodo and Sam. Apart from the lack of capes, these two guys are the same as the ones that came with Rivendell. While it's unfortunate they're not in some way exclusive, they still represent their on-screen counterparts very well in my opinion. The hair and printing looks top-notch, and the dual molded legs help to get that extra bit of accuracy in there. Both these figures come with a secondary facial expression, Frodo's one being controlled by the One Ring, and they also have some accessories like the ring itself, a dagger, and the vial of light given by Galadriel. You also have the option to give them the orc helmets they wore as disguise on their way to Mount Doom. New and unique pieces, very cool to have, and a nice way to change these figures up compared to the ones in Rivendell. Then next we've got Gollum, or Smeagol, is also present in this set, with a brand new mold and some new printing on his face. Many people don't like the lack of pupils in figures, but as you might know, I personally don't mind, I think it looks fine. I much prefer it over those very big human-like eyes that previous versions had, or those Clone Wars eyes for that matter. Overall, a really cool little figure to add to the collection. Next are 2 orc warriors with the accessories that the instructions assigned to them, and that goes for all upcoming figures. I absolutely love the faces and headpieces for these guys, I think it just looks incredible. And they're not actually identical, they have different torso prints too. Both come with alternative faces on the back, and as for their weapons, this printed shield piece is brand new and looks awesome. Absolutely love that. Then an Orc High and an Orc Chef. All these Orc figures have similar torsos, yet they're all slightly different. The Orc High has a really cool helmet design, and there's actually a bunch of these helmets included, even spare ones used in the build. The Orc Chef is very similar, just a different headpiece. Again, both have the secondary face on the back if you prefer that. Gothmog is also included, the deformed orc general. I feel like just a regular head for him doesn't really do it justice. Maybe some kind of special head mold like these orc ones from earlier could have been cool, but I guess this is what we ended up with. His chest plate looks very cool though and gives him that much needed volume. Other than that, there isn't much going on here, just another decent figure. And finally, the two highlights of this set in my opinion, Sauron and the Mouth of Sauron. Both these figures have incredible printing overall, with the helmet molds being the most insane aspect. They're made of a rubbery material and they're especially made for this set. I mean, just look at them, what can I say, it's perfect. Both these guys come with appropriate weapons, Sauron's being a giant mace, and underneath the helmets are their faces, and Sauron's is mostly just fiery eyes. It's pretty interesting. Absolutely crazy figures, these two. I'm loving these. Frodo and Sam actually come with a little bit of rock from Mount Doom, where they ended up after destroying the ring. It's the most simple of builds, but just a nice little place to put Frodo and Sam on. They don't really fit inside Barad-dur well. Wouldn't make a lot of sense. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the figure selection. It's pretty much what I expected out of a set like this. Sauron especially is a nice surprise, as technically he's not in the movie in solid form, only in flashbacks. They clearly went the extra mile to bring us some insane looking figures. Now onto the building experience. Per usual, there's a nice intro about the LEGO set at hand in the instruction booklet. It is always nice to get some more insight into what went down in the creation process of sets like these. You also get some random fun facts throughout building the model, which is a nice addition. The building process itself was fantastic. There's tons of variety and fun stuff, even though most of it is black. There are some fun mechanisms in place, and it's really fun to put together these separate sections of the build, as it's split up into 3 big parts. Technically 4 if you count booklet 3 as 2 sections. There was some repetitiveness every now and then, but nothing that bothered me too much. It is to be expected with large structures like this. In total, I spent about 7 hours putting this beast together. In its entirety, it measures 83 centimeters high, 45 centimeters wide, and 30 centimeters deep. It is massive, if you hadn't noticed already. At first glance, seeing it in person, it is incredibly impressive, mostly due to its size that I just mentioned. Things that stand out instantly are the eye up top, the lava details on the ground, and of course the detailed interior. Let's first take a look at the exterior from bottom to top, starting with the lava. I gotta say, this isn't my favorite part of the build. It's a tad messy in some places, and the coloring is an interesting one. For me, the difference between red, orange, and yellow trans pieces is just a bit too big, especially the yellow. I'm curious what it would have looked like if all the yellow was orange instead. That aside though, it does do a decent job at representing a lava magma type surface. The entrance has a little front gate with a ramp leading up to the actual gate. There are some spiky details all over this area, giving it that evil vibe. I do have to say the amount of studs in this area bothers me a little bit, especially because other parts are so nicely tiled off. It comes off as a bit amateur, but that could just be me. The walls around the first layer of structure are nice and detailed, utilizing some unique shaping all around. We've got these little tower elements, short ones, and these 2 taller ones, again with all kinds of spiky details. What I love about all of this, and I haven't seen in a LEGO set ever before, is that they actually added lighting to these walls. Towards the ground it starts as brown, then dark brown, and then to black, to kind of replicate the light or glow from the lava bouncing off of the walls. Not only does this integrate the structure with the surface more, it also neatly breaks up the endless black color. I think it is genius, and it's actually a technique utilized throughout the entire set, as you'll see in a minute. On the left, we've got this little rock formation with a knob on it. If you twist this knob, the main gate's doors will open up. It's a very satisfying action and feels quite smooth. It's nothing super fancy, but it works really well. Now moving up the tower to the second section, it's a similar thing again, just with a slightly different design. Once again from dark orange all the way to black to represent that glow coming from below. Incredible. We're seeing 2 little towers on the sides once again, and of course a large rock section crawling across the middle. This part I dislike the most about the entire set. I don't think this looks good at all, both the shaping and coloring. It feels far too messy in my opinion, and the contrast between black of the tower and the grey just seems too big. The dark tan pieces I think look particularly bad. It just sticks out like a sore thumb for me, even though I recognize there's limited choices as far as colors go. But anyway, if we move up a little further, we have some interesting looking windows with orange inside to replicate light coming from within. Right here though, you can actually see some light gray and blue bricks showing through the cracks, which is kind of distracting. And all over the tower, by the way, you can see these little torches, these flames, adding some little light sources all over. Now, the tower itself. I think this is the best looking section as far as the exterior goes. It is really nicely smoothed out. It's got plenty of nice details, and once again, these slightly rubbery spike pieces are something to point out. I really like how those look here. We have some spear pieces, which apparently were done in black for the first time, especially for this set, and these larger blade pieces look awesome as well. Then the highlight of the build, literally the Eye of Sauron. This came out so ridiculously well, it is baffling to me. Once again, again we've got that light glow bouncing off these rocks with the dark orange, brown and dark brown. It looks incredible. And the eye itself, I mean, what can I say? It's really uniquely done, and it can even look around a little bit with the way it's attached. And the cherry on top is this light brick that shines straight onto the eye, giving it a nice glow when it's a bit darker. Holy heck, what a cool looking tower. At first I was very worried about the amounts of black in this set, but seeing it in real life, it's actually not a problem at all. It's really just the rocks for me that seem off. To summarize, the things I love are the details, the eye, the smoothness of the tower, and the light glow effect. And my least favorite aspects are the coloring of the lava, some of the rock work, and the amount of studs towards the bottom of the building. Now let us move on to the interior, because there's plenty to talk about there as well. There's actually zero reference material for the inside of Barad-dur, so LEGO took some creative liberty here and came up with their own designs. Starting at the bottom, again, this is the armory and torture room apparently. Here you'll see items like an anvil, some freshly forged armor and helmets on display, some shields, all kinds of forgery related things. There's even a little lava flow over here to smelt yourself some fresh steel. This is where one of the orcs can be placed with his hammer. Then on the far right is a little cave with a fish inside, and this is a neat spot for you to place Gollum, hiding from the orcs. Above him is a tiny rock section that can be pulled out, revealing a hidden spider. This is a clear reference to Shelob, the giant spider Frodo faces. Then all the way on the left we can see a skeleton dangling above a pool of lava, presumably to obliterate prisoners. It can be pulled up and down by spinning this gear over here. It looks like bro's had a rough time so far. Overall, it's just a really nice looking room with plenty of detail. Let's move up one story where we arrive at the dining room. I suppose the purpose of this room speaks for itself. This is where the orcs sit down and eat, which I'm sure would absolutely never happen in the universe, but hey, I'm loving this bit of goofiness in here. It's super fun. There's a pot hanging over a fire, cooking a bone and a carrot, a table that's all set with some chicken and sausage and drinks, and some cooking supplies sitting in the back ready to be used by the orc chef. There's even a menu sign with meat on it. Guess what that's referencing?
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
On the left is a little barrel with some kind of green liquid, orc lemonade perhaps. Now even if this room might not make a ton of sense within the context of the set, I absolutely love this, it looks nice. The last detail on this level is this tiny rock that can be pulled out, revealing text about the 3 rings of power given to the elves. Now, moving up once again, we arrive at the throne room. Of course, Sauron wasn't around in physical form at this point in time, but still, a throne is a must. We have some banners on either side, and if you pull this little knob on the front, this section splits open and reveals the Palantir. Inside, you can see the white tree of Gondor on fire, with on the other side, the Shire, also on fire. And behind that is a map of Middle-earth, also a sticker element. This is just a very cool part of the interior. The action here works super smoothly and is done in a very unique way, to say the least. The next level is the mouth of Sauron's study room. We're seeing a letter being written, a mithril chain body, some scrolls which are actually printed window pieces, and some more sticker detail showing shelves with on top the LEGO Fellbeast set. I'm convinced that's what it's supposed to be, and worry not, we're gonna look at that guy in just a minute. Above all of that is a painting of Sauron holding the One Ring. The next and final room is a library with once again a bunch of stickers depicting shelves and books. As you've noticed, there's a bunch of large stickers in this set, but for once I'm actually not too bothered by them at all. I think they genuinely add a ton of detail here, which otherwise would have been near impossible to do. In the middle of this room sits a scroll with text on it, and I actually didn't catch onto this at first, but I was told this is referencing the ring poem. The ladder, by the way, can be moved left and right as well. And that seems to be pretty much everything for the interior. I'm quite happy with what they chose here. I don't think we're missing anything important, but then also there wasn't really any reference material here, so can't really go wrong with that. Then there's the set's stability. While you can technically hold it as a whole, I strongly recommend not doing so. I almost dropped the entire thing doing this because the different sections began to slide off. I recommend taking the tower off and moving it in 2 parts. The sections slide in place in a very satisfying way, also allowing you to see inside the interior a bit better. The tower at the very top can be detached by pulling out this pin and just taking it straight off. On its own though, the tower is very sturdy and strong, no worries there. Now this is the part where usually I compare it to the source material, but we can of course only look for the exterior here. The most notable difference between the two is the real one is a little bit sleeker. The details and shaping of the LEGO model are much more defined and bulky, whereas the real thing seems a tad smoother and streamlined. I do think that was a decent decision. It also makes it a bit more intense looking as far as details go, so to speak. I don't know, it's a bit more defined. The coloring of the rocks does come in here again. The surface of Mordor is very dark on its own, almost black, so the gray here it just doesn't look right. I do get why they didn't choose black though, otherwise the whole thing would have just been all black, but still, I don't know, I'm not loving that part, like I said before. Overall though, the shapes and details match relatively well, so I'm not complaining at all. Let's quickly place this alongside Rivendell. Yeah, this is incredible. I mean, it's definitely not better than Rivendell, and it doesn't have the same level of detail and unique building techniques, but still, it's a lovely addition here. It looks incredible side by side. Well, what can I say? It is just a whole lot of badassery. Now, before looking at the pros and cons, first I want to check out this little guy, because if you bought this set June 1st, you actually got this for free, which is great, so let's go ahead and take a look. It is a nice little box, simple but does the job. Inside are the plastic bags, instructions, and plastic wings, of course. The building of this guy is very straightforward, with the highlight being the wings, obviously. These are cool items and something you don't see often. I actually really like the design of the Fell Beast, even though it's super simplistic. I think it's rather small to make sure it doesn't dwarf Barad-dur too much. The coloring seems pretty accurate too. The only complaint I would have is the lack of posability. The wings can only go up and down, basically, and the legs also have limited range. The tail and most of the neck are fine though. The head is also very simple, I don't mind that, besides the fact that there's no eyes. Maybe some stickers or prints could have helped with this. Does seem like a missed opportunity. Then there's the included Nazgul figure. I mean, it's very simplistic, but hey, he's basically all black robes anyway, so it makes sense. I do absolutely love this cape. I believe it's a Dementor cape. It also comes with a tiny stone section, I'm guessing from Osgiliath, due to the light gray color, and because this is where these creatures were featured as well. Overall, I really like it, although, as always, I'm sad this isn't a regular retail set, because a few of these would have been dope. I wouldn't really know where to put this on Barad-dur though. Maybe with one of those clear rod pieces this could be done somehow, but anyway, that is the Fell Beast. With all that out of the way, I think we can now finally look at the pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
First of all, the impressive size and design are obvious. It makes for a beautiful display piece, although its size might make it a bit difficult in some cases. The price too is actually really justifiable. Besides the piece count and weight, it's also just really big and looks to match the amount you're spending. And finally, it's got an awesome minifigure selection that can be praised for its unique molds and mostly exclusivity. Then as for cons, some design choices depend on your taste, like the rocks for me personally, and some study areas. And everything else is so subjective that I can hardly list them as cons. Examples are the large stickers, the potentially controversial choice of a dining room for orcs, some coloring. That is all so personal, that's gonna have to be your own choice to make. Obviously, despite its flaws, I still really love this set. It looks incredible, it's great for display, and just a really cool thing to have in my collection. If you're a fan of Lego or Lord of the Rings, or both, this is a great pick. Then I guess for today, that is pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, make very sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell not to miss a single future video, then I hope I'll see you in the next one.